they are not having any kind of communication errors. Like, you know, the couple of times we've seen like Gary and Mocha be on a different page to Taikki and Beansu, I wonder whether we'll see that happen again for Forge, because it certainly is not a worry for Fnatic.
Well, what's for certain is I'm not going to get my wish for today, as Camille has been banned away, along with Rengar and Ivan, all the fun champions to be
Poppy is the big one, and to catch up on this, with the rest of them being the same, the Ryze is not first picked for Forge, which is fairly surprising.
Yeah, I mean, like, Jiizuke is not the reason why you would feel like Team Forge are losing these games. If anything, he's like the one glimmering hope that maybe gets them back into the game with those Ryze plays. So as the first pick of Zyra, also weird, because like the Misfortune did fine last game, right?
I'm also not the biggest fan of this, because I think Klaj was... So while Klaj wasn't struggling, and yes, he was having impact in teamfights, Klaj was giving Taikki so much from the kills that, you know, Taikki was in a great position from it. Now, Fnatic obviously going to take the Ryze while it's available. I mean, why wouldn't you at this point?
Yeah, that's pretty much a no-brainer. With the Karma coming in as well, that will most likely go down to support. So Klaj doesn't want to jump on the Misfortune hype train.
And I think Fnatic Academy probably just going to pick the Ezreal again, go for a very safe bot lane where you can sit back, kind of not bother about the Zyra in this setup. It theoretically won't do too much. So the first pick Zyra coming out of Forge is very surprising.
Followed up by Orianna from Jiizuke. So I mean, it's a fine pick. It's just not what it's not the same powerhouse pick that he had before.
Well, they're constructing a fairly good team fighting comp here. You got the Ashe, you got the Orianna, you got the Zyra, a lot of things. So, you know, if we see some dive components come through again with the Orianna to create, you know, a wombo combo style, then you put the Zyra ultimate in the middle, it denies Fnatic the ability to close the gap. So there is that option available if Forge round out their composition with that kind of setup.
If that is the case, seems like that's pretty much what they're building at this point in time. Fnatic, next two picks over to them. 7 seconds remaining. Most likely going to be that Ezreal, of course. And Elise still open for Broxah. With Lee Sin off the table, his next go-to has been Elise and has done fine so far in this series, including the rest of the tournament. So why not? Again, another no-brainer pick from Fnatic. And now over to 4G for their final two picks. This will really be the backbone of the rest of their composition.
Well, previously, Fnatic Academy have locked in the Poppy in the first round. Not available now, so they go blind into the top lane with Shen here. We have seen Rumble played into Shen. Ruin tried it in the first series today, but it didn't... Well, the Rumble went fine, but the game did not for, you know, Nerve. I'm interested to see now what Kikis is going to play into it. Kikis not really a Rumble player. He has played it a little bit, but...
Yeah, he's kind of dabbled in some carry picks. Like he did play a bit of Ekko and Fiora back when like you pretty much had to play carries in the top lane. It's like okay, I guess I'll play like Ekko, who's basically a tank anyway, you know, and still has ultimate. So he did play some of that. So we'll see if he brings that up. Not much of a Rumble player, as you were saying. Shen, well, there's the Ekko. It's just like, what do I have in my arsenal that does fine into Shen?
So Ekko did receive a couple of changes, mostly still the same. You can play him in the top lane. A couple of little cosmetic, minor things that changed during the Assassin update. Didn't really affect him too much in that update since, and we've seen Ekko since, the ones that kind of shredded some of his tankiness and damage away. So interested to see how Kikis is going to be able to handle Beansu on this Shen up in the top lane. But Forge, they got the dive components. They've now got a Kha'Zix to jump in with an Orianna ball and the Stand United.
Yeah. They have the components. And can they make it work? That's
see if they can
that's
rebuild
the big question. See if they can rebuild it. Glad to see Shen back though. Really like to see some Shen. He has been played a little bit in CSQ so far. Shen kind of fell off a little bit when tanks came back in, because it's just like, well, Maokai and Poppy, they just do more when they arrive in the fight, and even if you have the global ability to be places, it's just like compared to how much like a Poppy and Maokai bring in the late game, it just wasn't worth. But it's gotten back to the stage where people are like, well, Shen's Shen, and like if you have a Kha'Zix who wants to jump in, shield's still great, and actually does form a part of this composition. So has come back in, nice to see. But it is something a bit different from 4G, which is nice to see. It's not like a Shaco Hail Mary that we saw in the first series of the day. It's something a little bit more put together.
Yeah, that just felt like Memento was like, I'm in LCS, see you guys.
See you nerds, I'm good. There's just like
the last minute turn, like.
Yep.
No, that's well. If anybody was going to play Shaco, it would be Kikis in this game because he was the one that did it successfully with the Unicorns of Love. If you remember, all the way back to spring 2015.
Yeah, 2015
was when Unicorns placed fourth.
Yeah,
second
because
they were in the
finals.
finals.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
We did it. History
that was a
lesson
long
over.
time ago.
Once again, jump on Twitter. Could be the last time for today. Hashtag 4G win and hashtag FNA win. And we'll see who you are favouring. If you were a betting man, probably Fnatic would be a good one to jump on. As they are 2-0 in this series. Match point, just need one win to go, and it will be locked in for EUCS. Doing significantly better than their predecessors of the FNA lineup.
What if I'm the type of person that keeps cash under the mattress? Like, doesn't want to invest in anything.
Then
no
you just
gambling,
don't.
no
You just delete your Twitter account and you just don't vote on anyone, I guess.
I should probably move my cash now that I've told everybody where it is.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's probably not a good play.
Well, all of the chips are down on Forge for this game. In their minds, this is a do-or-die situation.
You're all in.
Yeah, exactly. They have to be able to pull out a win here. Otherwise, Fnatic Academy will be taking the last spot in Challenger Series for Spring 2017.
That they will. And Mocha and Gary. If anything else, it's a tragedy that their names will not be in EUCS because Gary's just a great name, you know? Like, casting some Gary.
I mean, we really have not even started to, you know, dip our toes in the water of SpongeBob references with Gary.
It's true, yeah. There's many different ways we could have gone. Isn't Gary the snail, like, in two different things? Because, like, the magic roundabout? Wasn't Gary the snail? Was it a different snail? I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was Gary, right?
One of us is a lot closer to watching SpongeBob and the age of the magic roundabout than the other, so my memory is hazy on that one. I'm going to stick to League of Legends.
All right, we can do that. That's fine. Someone can educate us on that.
Ooh, here we go again. Fnatic are doing it, this time without the Zyra. Interesting. Okay, so I was talking about how I thought that the Zyra was a fairly important component, but of course, anything with a shield helps. Klaj and MrRallez, they will take a little more damage this time around. Broxah takes away the blue buff. Same thing again. Will Gary and Mocha be prepared for this? They will know they're coming in late to the lane. Surely they will have this scouted well enough.
Well, he's going down.
There's a wooden try. Okay, so it's different. He's actually going for a red invade right now.
Very sneaky.
And look at how MrRallez and Klaj are still playing in the lane. Still playing back. Still trying to, you know... Oh, Taikki. Now he's going to know. Since he didn't move forward, Taikki spotted him out with a ward. Oh, hang on. Mocha was trying to come across as well. This is a very tense moment here. Taikki only level 2. Broxah is level 3. We'll have that slight smite advantage.
Gotta be close over to Broxah. I don't even think that was perfect as well. I mean, that was a spiraling which just nibbled away at the red buff just at the very end there. So Taikki, that was a big loss for him at the very start. Big time loss on top of that.
The blast plan from Broxah. Did he get spotted? Did Taikki not see it?
No, he was.
Oh no, bot lane don't
to the
know.
Side, the flash. Oh, dodges out of the way of the cocoon.
Flash for flash, double flash, and exhaust was used. Exhaust from Klaj.
Okay.
Still a net gain for Fnatic Academy.
Oh, that all could have been disastrous for Forge though.
And keep in mind, the last time Broxah did that play onto bottom side, yes, they got a kill, which they didn't this time, but Taikki responded with a top side invade, which has not happened. So Taikki is not going to be able to catch up, at least on the large buffs and getting the red buff as he would have liked to or as he did in game 1.
Yeah, gonna get triple buffed here. Nisqy recall has been interrupted by Jiizuke, so he's gonna be feeling pretty happy about that one. And Broxah will be taking his red buff as well, but he has the freedom to take his Krugs on top of that. Beansu got the early game. Talking about like tanks into Ekko, Shen does kind of have a slight upper hand up until around level 6. Q hits like a truck, so pretty much any squishy target, if you haven't gone for like an armor start or any type of magic resist, you will kind of feel the pain of that. Yeah.
Also gets to deny a lot of the auto attack trades, of course, with Shen's abilities to do so. You can see that Kikis is trying to very carefully and tentatively play away from the tower as well, as Beansu has that taunt. It's also another fairly disruptive and annoying thing that Shen can do against Ekko. If you land the taunt as E has been channeled, you get jumped right back to the Shen. Because you have to obviously be forced to auto anything in range, so there's a little bit of finicky timing there.
Yeah, it's not fun. The first couple of levels can be a bit hard, but you can see Kikis isn't struggling that much. Has burnt 1 pot, so it's not like he's going to die. It's just annoying to play against, and once he gets a couple levels as well, he can just clear with Time Winder. Mid lane though, we've got the reverse of this matchup, and it seems like Jiizuke is doing significantly better on the Orianna than he was on the Ryze, actually in this 1v1 bout.
Yeah, he actually forced a lot of Nisqy's health down early, and then delayed a recall, got more damage down, so Jiizuke got a recall at the right time as well. So that's how he's maintaining this lead. You can see Kikis gets pulled in.
Yep. As soon as Beansu jumps on him, it's not like he can do anything.
Yep. Real tough to deal with.
Unfortunately, the kill range for Shen is like 20%, so unless you drop down that low, you're not really going to die. However, Kikis being a little ballsy here, he needs to dodge the Shadow Dash, and we'll have to burn the flash for it, so that is kill range where he was right there.
Yeah. Oh, Jiizuke now feels the wrath of Nisqy, so Beansu surprising amount of damage early on the Shen. You were talking about it a little bit, coming from the Q. As Beansu and Kikis finished their trade on the top side. Beansu only level 5, should be fairly close, I believe, to that level 6. Nisqy in that mid lane. Ooh.
Not enough mana to finish him off from Jiizuke. Definitely has lane control though. He has shoved Nisqy out once again on a detrimental timing for himself, so he's feeling pretty good about life.
There is the level 6 from Beansu, so has Stand United available. Teleport is there for Kikis, did not use it to get back to lane, so has at least one global to try and match him with.
Yeah, often with a Shen in the game, it's like, unless the team with the Shen makes a play, the other team wants to play defensive, because it could turn into a 3v2 bot lane or a 2v1 like in the mid lane. So you don't really want to go for those aggressive plays just by Shen being level 6 and having ultimate. That's why we're seeing like not a lot of action happen in the early game, because if you just happen to go for a gank and Shen has his TP, then it's just bad news.
Yeah. Not the same CS advantage Broxah has this game. Taikki didn't struggle for it in the first game either. Considering how significant it was early on, Taikki picked up a few kills and was able to really deal out the damage as the game went on. Kikis may have found Jiizuke here. Jumps onto him.
Yeah, it's get the combo off. That'll be enough for now. Takes him down to half. That's okay. But that was after the recall, I believe, from Jiizuke, maybe? Yeah, should have been.
Yeah, so Jiizuke's got his level 2 boots already. Yeah. So Kikis eats the fruit, is heading back up to top side, will be able to accept this wave, so won't fall far behind on CS at all.
Yeah, that's a nice thing of being the top laner who can roam, is that you can usually pick up the honey fruit on the way back up unless it's been denied by a jungler. So you essentially get that roam for free outside of the cost of minions that you lost to your top laner, so you can carry on trading. So no real health loss. Bot lane, haven't really spoken about bot lane too much. Slight advantage to MrRallez, maybe a wave or two ahead of Gary, but doing fine. It's not going to be a snowball lead either way with these picks.
Just accepting that wave down the bottom as Fnatic will recall out. So fairly standard time on that Fnatic. We saw a similar pace in the last game. Forge were pushing heavier in the last game though. Remember, they got tower first blood. No, at a decent pace for bot lane, but they were playing that Misfortune. Back up to the top side, Kikis and Beansu trade against each other. Still going to be the same thing. A little bit more damage this time perhaps than the Maokai Hoppy matchup that we saw in games 1 and 2.
What type of item breakpoints are 4G looking for before they start going for fights? Because they will, of course, react with the Shen ultimate if anything happens proactively from Fnatic, but when can they start making those proactive moves?
Well, ooh, hang on, there's the arrow. You may very well have found the time.
Found Klaj. Is there anyone there? There's Taikki. He's not isolated, though. Sombrero. And Beansu will come into this fight onto Taikki, so he did have the shield down. Klaj, luckily have the speed shrine. And Taikki, not the evolved E, so...
Have to back away. Yeah, Taikki, I'm pretty sure, yeah, has the Taste of Fear again as his evolved one. So that's both Stand United and TP used. by Forge, so they tried to commit so much onto Klaj. You're asking item breakpoints. It was actually more about those ultimates, and it landed from Gary. They just weren't able to capitalize properly on top of it. Puts Fnatic Academy at a fairly decent spot when you look at like the ultimates that we used out on Forge and the summoner spells.
Yeah, and specifically like Beansu with no TP and no Stand United, so there's no chance of him getting into a fight. Kikis actually has an advantage now, and that's something that's very rare to get over Shen, is a double TP advantage over him. So Kikis is in very good shape, and that by proxy means that Fnatic, again, can maybe set up a play.
Especially when you take like a third of the tower's health as well on top of that. So not only did you get now summoner advantage, you're able to maybe capitalize on that a little later in the game when Beansu's going to be looking to make plays elsewhere on the map. Taikki having a little bit of a quieter start on this one. On the Kha'Zix, went well for him in the second game of this series. It just wasn't enough for the team.
He got a bit bloodthirsty. There was like at least 2 occasions where he just jumped into at least 3 or 4 people by himself and tried to pick up a kill. And you can understand when the red mist descends when you're on an assassin and off ed. It's just like, ah yes, I can delete this person. But he also didn't evolve E, so regardless of when he killed them, it was a one-way trip.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, not evolving E. I mean, for the longest time, pretty much the entirety of Kha'Zix history, that reset is just iconic for getting in and out of team fights, taking people out. You see Beansu now has to, you know, buy time for Taikki to get there. Kikis gets the parallel convergence.
He's buying a lot of time. Unfortunately, there is no one anywhere remotely close to save him. And with the jump being up from Taikki and the flash as well, oh, first blood every turn! Oh, finally finishing them off for a 1-for-1. But Kikis, the damage coming out there was disgusting. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, able to take this tower, and Mocha was falling there, but my god, that damage from Kikis. Thought he was dead.
Taikki was not expecting the damage to kick in from, you know, everything coming through. I mean, Kikis bought enough time with a parallel convergence, got the shield, runs back away, hits the Q, manages to proc the passive to get the movement speed through, and then Taikki jumps forward right into the auto. And wow, that Kikis showing that it's not just the Poppy that he's able to kind of hang on 1v2. Nisqy showing us just how much wave clear Ryze has. That's disgusting.
Oh, he didn't get
Doesn't get the cannon minion though.
50 gold down the drain.
What's all the wave clear used for if you,
if you get
don't get that? Yeah.
Come on, Nisqy, step it up in this mid lane. That's why you're down.
Yes. Now he's gone bot.
Here's Taikki. He's got the Shen ultimate on top of him. This is what the composition was meant to do, but he's rooted in place and dies before he can do anything. Beansu, he's tanking up a lot of damage, but Gary trying to cut away from Kikis, who was chasing him down relentlessly. Beansu left by his lonesome. Lots of damage from Jiizuke in the mid lane, but does not have the killing
Kikis
power.
going in.
Kikis going in. Kikis going out. There's lots of low health targets that Jiizuke is eyeing up, but he doesn't have any ultimate anymore and doesn't have flash.
Kikis wants this fight.
Does not get the stun, but just find the shield. Protobot comes out, but it's a little bit scary. Nisqy in this one-on-one. Klaj comes into play, the Q! That is the one that you want to dodge. That's the one that does a lot of damage. So, big win for Fnatic after all of that. I think there was at least 3 kills.
And towers as well. There's a bottom tower fell, so it was only 1 tower, so tower. But this was the play that started it off on the bot side. We won't get to see the top side exchange, but it looked like a good at least hold from Mocha. Great, you know, ultimate from Zyra, but it just wasn't enough. You can see there's no response coming out from Forge in time. Shen is there, but the rest of Forge were trying to, or Shen was top side, I should say, but Forge just didn't have enough to respond with.
Yeah, now we're in a situation more reminiscent of Game 1 where Fnatic have this massive advantage and 4G not only are going to have to make some good plays, but some plays that will upset the balance completely of this game, because that was a really big loss for them in terms of time and money and pretty much everything. And Gary is just getting obliterated by Kikis in the bottom lane. There's just nothing he can do. Kikis just styled on him. I'm pretty sure that was not necessary, but he killed him regardless. That'll be the Dragon going down, so at least a constellation prize, ADC for Dragon, and it's a Mountain Dragon as well.
But there was the work that was put in earlier by Kikis, allows MrRallez to go up to top side, push down the tower. Now look at Fnatic Academy. You know, you wouldn't typically expect the the further push coming from this with only one wave in front, but Fnatic Academy were looking to try and cut in behind Beansu, but Beansu calls their bluff because there was a ward in the jungle that spotted the rest of them coming. Fnatic Academy, hang on, here comes the TP. That's a TP to defend bot tower.
Wow.
What? That is gonna let top tower die. I mean, or at least half the health of it go down.
It may actually just die. I think you were right on your first estimate there, Stress.
I was looking at the Zyra, I'm like, maybe...
Broxah?
Yeah, they keep a hold of it. Alright, for now. But still, I mean, it's lost all of its health.
Yeah.
So it's one more push, and that should go down. TP used bot by Beansu. I'm a little surprised. He did hold the tower, so it's fine for now. Realm Warp comes through. Jiizuke, that is not your Realm Warp.
No, it is not. Oh, Beansu jumps into 2 targets, just get the double stun down. Jiizuke will play with his life. Kikis, he's still running, he's out of there. Beansu looking for another Q, but Taikki's the one who won't be able to pick up the kill. Or Mocha rather, not sure. Just a random Q over the wall will be finishing up that kill. So a 1-for-1. So 4G, not the worst thing in the world for them, but not the best.
Kikis is causing so much havoc for Forge on the map. I mean, he is everywhere. He's jumping around on the top side, bot side, just coming in through mid lane, getting out. I mean, 3-1-3. We were looking at, like, was it the Poppy that was doing it? Obviously, we know Kikis is the caliber of player that should be able to contend all the way through Challenger and up the majority of the way through LCS because he's kind of got a history of doing that. But still just showing that he can just be anywhere he wants to on the map. This is the attempt onto Jiizuke. I mean, that's a tower that's 2/3 of its health still alive. Kikis didn't even get the stun and he still wanted this. Jiizuke couldn't really back away because, I mean, Nisqy was going to appear, hit game Broxah and Klaj as well, but Kikis gets that alive. Klaj inevitably ends up falling seemingly in this series. Not really his fault on a lot of this. He's just squishy and trying to buy time and get the rest of his team away. But this is, again, as you said earlier, a good start, reminiscent of Game 1 for Fnatic Academy. 16 minutes in, 5,000 gold in the lead, there or thereabouts.
It's just all-around good times for Fnatic. They have complete control over the board. And top lane, very, very low, so another push up there will finish off that tower, open up that ring of towers. It's only 16, 17 minutes into the game as well. Like, they have so much to play around.
And this is one that Nisqy can do here, as long as there's vision control, which as of right now, there isn't a lot of it from Fnatic Academy, because Klaj is helping in the middle lane. As long as there's some sense of vision control, he can just walk up. Kikis comes in from the side.
Yeah, a little bit scary for Jiizuke right now. Big shockwave. Oh, ultimate lands onto Kikis. Broxah, he knows he can't repel right there, because it will spell Kikis' doom probably. But that is a clean escape.
Yeah, despite the arrow hitting under tower, Jiizuke's still the one that dies in this setup. Kikis wants to go in, gets the shield from himself, pushes it down. Nisqy's still pushing topside, and Gary and Mocha are the two that have to hold on to that. Fnatic Academy are just going to swing around. Way too early to think about Baron because it hasn't even spawned yet, so they're probably going Rift Herald and then going to back away. Nisqy still wants this tower. Is spotted out by the blue trinket, can't quite get it.
This Herald will inevitably go to Kikis. If he wasn't a monster already, he's got more burst to add to his repertoire. And his burst already is pretty much one-shotting Gary, so now he's definitely going to one-shot Gary if he finds him in the side lane. Beansu, he's sitting in his own side lane, but questionable decisions on an individual level, I would say, in this game from many of the players from Team Forge, which was different from the other games where it was more team blunders, and now it's individual players making mistakes on their own.
Jiizuke in this game just has not really felt comfortable. Despite having a CS lead initially against Nisqy, he's been pushing up in the lane, trying to just kind of get anything he can, and then as soon as he ends up sitting under his tower, there's no vision control around the side of his lane for him. Forge are trying to get that for him now, but the tower's already dead. Like, it's too late to be looking for this vision control. It's so difficult to maintain it, the wards are just going to die, so okay, you'll see them come in and sweep it out, but Jiizuke's got nothing to defend him in the middle lane right now. He just has to sit further back in the lane. Now look at Fnatic Academy swinging around to the top side. Nisqy's going there again, but they stop off with a blue buff. I mean, it's only a matter of time before Kikis continues bottom lane push, which he's doing right now. and top tower falls. I mean, if Beansu TP's bot now like he did the last time around, that tower's dead.
Not the game you want to be seeing as your match point game against Fnatic. Trying to get into EUCS. That's gone. Yep. I mean, Gary can't get anywhere near that tower. No. Like, kill range is pretty much just outside of his inhibitor tower.
And now Kikis goes mid. The rest of Fnatic Academy are backed off. They're looking for top side, so it's a little bit more conservative than just diving into the mid lane. But certainly the presence is there. The option is there. Top is dead.
Mocha, well, he'll get the E onto Broxah, but again, no capitalization because no one can. And Kikis into mid lane. As you rightly said, we'll carry on pushing this lane. It's just lane to lane. And the dominoes are falling.
And look, dragons spawning. Fnatic Academy, they're already angling over there. Taikki's trying to get something that... Oh, look at that damage.
Taikki have to get out of here real fast. Kikis has to be a little careful, though. But he just had chrono breaks, so it's not going to be too bad. A lot of Kha'Zix's damage is over time now. Oh, Kha'Zix very, very low. That will be Beansu's awesome on top of him, just saving his life.
The ult actually hit Ezreal. MrRallez got caught with it in mid lane.
Killing it like
oh, hang on, here it comes.
Oh, it hit him. It hit Taikki. It was unfortunately not enough damage, but he was right on the mark. And this will be Dragon going over as well. Oh, okay. All right, got it this time. Good job, Broxah.
Oh, Kikis.
He's got him in his sights.
Ah, he was on the ward, knew that Proto Belt wasn't available, so couldn't quite go in.
Well, he's got Gary in his sights.
Okay, yeah.
He wanted somebody. He didn't have Proto Belt, but he has more than enough damage in his kit alone. I feel like he must have a lot of gold to go back on. I feel like Kikis has not gone back in a while.
Yeah, it's about 2k.
Yeah.
So that's a fair amount.
That'll be
going to finish up with the Lich Bane. Yeah. Yep, there you go. I mean, the next step for Fnatic Academy with the lead that they have right now is Kikis goes back to the bottom side. And you try and punish the fact that Beansu, you know, he has Standulated on cooldown still, so can't quite use it. So they're relying on a TP. So Fnatic can try and bait somebody in around Baron if they want to. The other option is to try and dive mid-tower, but it's a little bit trickier than that. You can try and pull Forge through their own jungle and then cut in from the side, which this is what Fnatic Academy are going to try and do. This is fairly straightforward. Nisqy's not there. Ooh,
oh no, that was a Q, an ultimate and a Q from MrRallez, and a bit of damage from elsewhere. And that was just Mocha dead.
And there's somebody dead. Now they can look to either try it again or start the Baron. Kikis is putting the pressure down on Beansu. We've reached the point you were talking about where Kikis can actually afford to take some of these trades now in the bottom side. He is so far ahead.
He is, yeah, he is very far ahead. Doesn't really matter what Beansu does at this stage. There's no outplay potential against a 3-1-4 Ekko, who's on 2 items at 22 minutes. Mid lane getting sieged in, and Kikis with the flank as well. Gary gets obliterated. He'll have to take a trip back to base. Kikis dropping low, but again, still has that Chrono Break available to him. And mid tower down, objective achieved from Fnatic. They'll go back to base with their pockets lined with gold. And maybe they'll even look towards this Baron as well, place a few wards down before they head back.
That's the important one. They're actually going to go for it. Look, the fruit was available for Klaj. Kikis does have TP. Oh, it's Mocha that's stepping forward. He stepped through about 4 or 5 wards. You can't. Don't step there, please.
People you don't want to face check.
They were trying, perhaps, to get in Nisqy. Realm warped out to try and catch people. MrRallez just took half everybody's health away while he's still stood in the jungle entrance just with his ultimate.
All right. Okay, so now everyone from Fnatic going to go back to base. Kikis did use his TP, so silver linings for 4G. At least they have TP advantage for Beansu.
At this rate, it's not going to be a challenger lining.
No, it's not, unfortunately.
Forge, I mean, we had a lot of fun casting Forge last split in Challenger. We thought that perhaps, you know, looking at this lineup, Taikki, Jiizuke, Beansu, and kind of the question around Gary and Mocha, we thought, you know, this is a lineup that theoretically we were looking at could get back into Challenger, but the difficulty is that the field for Challenger this coming split is insane. The players we have in Challenger.
Probably the strongest lineup we've seen in years.
I mean, between Paris Saint-Germain, Schalke, I mean, Fnatic Academy, if they can close this out, we have so many former LCS players in Challenger that, like, you look at Challenger staples like Jiizuke, Taikki, Beansu, they're not able to claw their way back in.
If they're not able to make the cut, it's just like, it's just absolutely insane. As
tells you a lot.
Yeah, it really does about what's to come in this next Challenger split. Will be very fun to watch indeed. it's just going to be crazy not seeing some of these players, honestly.
I can't wait for the Challenger split. We're going to have so many top-tier matchups week on week.
It really makes you think about like who's actually going to be sitting down in like 5th and 6th. It could be like some teams you really expected to be massive powerhouses in their own right, but just can't make the cut when you look at these top teams.
And I'm seriously worried for the bottom teams of the LCS from this split as well. When you look at the difference in strength.
Yeah, we've got a lot of teams like just looking to survive, not hit relegation is a goal for many of our teams. So
exactly, I'd be like desperately just making sure I'm not at the bottom of a group.
Yeah.
Because there are some scary Challenger teams. Normally we have one. I would argue we have like 3 at least in Challenger next split. That if any of them make it in, you have to be careful if you end up in the bottom of the group.
Yeah, for sure. Relegation tournament.
Oh, Kikis
almost
goes in.
A death sentence.
Mocha's dead.
Oh, complete obliteration of the support. Bot tower down for the count. Fnatic looking to close in the exact same way they were looking in game 1. Just opening up this base, taking down the towers. Mid lane was being pushed in by Kikis, so even that's set up for them. Moving on to both of these inhibitors. Fnatic only a matter of time before they wipe the floor with 4G. Kikis just get taunted up. Just has his ultimate still, but he doesn't have mana for it. So
that's true.
He's out. That's a calculated play yet again from Kikis. Definitely should have died an additional 2 times this game, but he's out, and the base is exposed for Team Forge.
This has just been so straightforward for Fnatic Academy. Like this would have been the 3rd game if they had closed out there, that they had got 1 Baron and just ended the game. If this game ends before next Baron, it still rings true. But Fnatic Academy just look like they've broken the spirit of Forge right now. There just doesn't seem to be much in the way of communication. Forge is still trying, but they're so far behind, like 12 to 13,000 gold down.
I mean, honestly, for Forge to come back at this stage would be one of the biggest comebacks in a best of 5 that we've ever seen in League of Legends. I mean, when you put it like that, it's just like, oh, well.
It's insurmountable, really. Like, this is Fnatic Academy just stamping the seal. And a lot of people will talk about, like, you know, the draw from the end of the groups yesterday. But, I mean, that's how it's fallen for Fnatic Academy. And Jiizuke, he's burning!
I mean... I think that was a minion finishing him off there at the very end.
And the red buff, by the looks of it.
Yep. Well, if it wasn't insurmountable already, it's a 4v5 with your mid laner down.
Yeah.
2 to 12. It's really just filling in the paperwork for Fnatic at this stage. There's the round warp. There's a lot of things coming down, but all that's for certain is Mocha is very dead. Fnatic will just take this tower. They'll take the inhib. They'll take everything away from 4G, their hopes, their dreams of getting into EUCS in 2017 spring. They'll have to try again in summer because Fnatic are circling like vultures, looking to just take this as cleanly as they can.
Yeah, triple inhibs down. Fnatic Academy are looking to wind this one up on the last push. No Baron buff for them this time, but the super minions should be enough. Kikis wants to go in for one last set of kills.
All right, let's see how fast I can kill Gary on this one. Can we make it less than a second?
Okay, the hold is there just about for Forge off this wave. Slow and steady wins the race for Fnatic. You know, you see a lot of teams overcommit into these types of scenarios, into double Nexus towers, and then kind of end up having things turn back around.
The vitality effect, where you go in and it's just like, there's like 100 health left on the Nexus, and then you lose the game. Probably not going to happen. Even if Fnatic got 5-man aced at this point in the game, maybe they would lose a tower or 2, just because of how much has been taken away from 4G. You know?
Oh wow, Forge haven't actually taken a tower.
Yeah.
I am slow on that realization.
Almost perfect game from
there's
Fnatic.
2 kills and a drag.
2 kills and a drag. Away from a perfect game from Fnatic, pretty much in this final game. Yeah, Klaj, I mean, that definitely wasn't really his fault. Kikis, I can't remember what...
You're just like making...
Yeah, I'm trying to think what would have been the perfect game. Yeah, exactly. What went wrong? That's on you, Kikis. I don't think it was Klaj's fault, so it's your fault, even though you've been the biggest playmaker of this game.
Of all of it, Kikis took out Taikki in a 2v1.
He did, but he's prevented the perfect game from Fnatic. So regardless of how well you've done, regardless of literally solo killing people and carrying this game on your back,
you're blaming it all on Kikis.
I am.
Okay.
I guess if you die once, then it's still like a perfect KDA, right? Because you can die once and you still have a KDA. Because if you die twice, then you cut your KDA in half, so maybe it can be forgiven.
Well, Fnatic are looking to cut Forge in half and take him out of the CSQ right now. So this is for that last spot in Challenger. Fnatic going to try and wind this one up against Forge. Kikis goes in.
Okay, Kikis, he goes in, he goes out, the towers are dying, and Beansu, he's tanky, but just not tanky enough. The super minions are pretty much just ending the game on their own, and there's another 6 of them coming into the base. They're getting flooded right now, and there's just not enough damage control in the world to save 4G in their predicament. Beansu jumps in, Beansu has to go back to base, and this will be Fnatic closing in, tightening the screws, the last nail in the coffin. Welcome to Challenger 2017.
I don't think you can argue too much that Fnatic Academy, for the majority of this series, looked like the better team. Forge showed glimpses of what brought them to this kind of platform and what we have seen from the players before, but that Game 2 mistake just seemed to have kind of taken everything Forge had, and then Fnatic with the good starts to the games 1 and 3 really were able to just take the lead and run with it so very well.
Yeah, Fnatic Academy, not only in this series, but in the entire tournament, have looked like the best and most consistent team that we've seen so far coming into the qualifiers, and that's like outside of the already amazing teams that we have coming into Challenger 2017. And so it's going to be great.
A lot of people thought Nerve, you know, with their win yesterday over Fnatic Academy, that was a big staple, that, you know, Nerve topped the group.
They were
Fnatic
undefeated.
Academy. Yeah, exactly. And we were asking, like, were Fnatic Academy quite as strong as we thought? Well, Fnatic Academy looks like whatever jitters kind of ailed them yesterday, they've fixed them. And they just come right back into it against Forge. And Fnatic Academy just take the win.
Pretty much. I mean, that's the end of it, really. And Fnatic will now be contending with teams like Schalke as well at the very top there. And it's just going to be fantastic to watch. I can't stress it enough that this will just be a really interesting split, because you look at the whole history of Challenger, and we've never really had a split as strong and as stacked as this one, when you have organizations now who are like fully backing their teams, big organizations as well.
I think this is the first time that I would definitively say that in my mind there are multiple Challenger teams that I expect to be better than multiple LCS teams, and that is a big, like, moment, I think, looking at European Challenger, because there's always been one. There's always been one you could look at and say, this team will do it. But now I think there's at least 2.
And even then it was shaky, right? Like, we think back to, like, Millennium, you know, when they looked really strong with, like, the likes of Hansam or Masterwork, and we're like, this team 100% going to go in. Didn't make the cut, you know? So we're at that point where it's just, like, pretty much definitively we can say now.
And right now I'm looking at teams like Origin, like Giants, to some extent Roccat, and looking at it in like, hey guys, you've got to make sure you are picking up big wins throughout the split. Now that we're in best of 3 and into 2 groups, you're not going to be able to pick wins off each other. So you've somehow got to beat the teams above you. In my mind, I think it's a really tough spot for them to be in when you look at some of the competition from like Schalke, Paris Saint-Germain, Fnatic Academy, even Kinguin on a good day, I think may be able to do well.
Yeah, could even look like a 4th place team, something like that, when they look at the competition. But either way, let's get to a full rundown of the 2017 EU Challenger Series teams. You've already mentioned a couple of them. Team Kinguin and Fnatic Academy from CSQ have just qualified. So we'll take a look at those rest of the teams just now, and that's also including Millennium, Schalke, of course, coming in from the 2016 EU LCS, some promotion games, and Paris you say it.
It's okay.
You're better at this than I am. You practiced this.
Paris Saint-Germain, practice that a little bit. They acquired the spot of Team Huma, so that's how they're in there. And then Misfits Academy, who they acquired the Epsilon esports spot. Again, another team that looks very strong. Haven't mentioned them in all of this discussion, and I'm like, I really don't know who's winning Challenger next split, but it is going to be a good one.
Yeah, and it's not even like all the teams are bad. All the teams are so good, it's so difficult to tell. The Challenger Series will be firing up again in 3 weeks. That's later on, of course, into the split, but the EU LCS Spring Split is kicking off this Thursday. So that will be starting with Origin versus H2K, followed by G2 versus Fnatic. So already starting off on a star-studded lineup.
If there is one game for Origin to shut all of the casters up, because we all are fairly unanimous on our thoughts on their roster, Origin against H2K, that would be a great one if they can take out perhaps even a win or 2 against the group leaders, the ones that picked the initial round. that would be a very good start to the split. So there's a lot on the line now, even on day one of the EULCS spring split.
Early wins, very important for these teams, because maybe they can take a couple wins off teams who aren't quite as practiced coming to the split. Early preparation, like we saw Schalke even last split. It's like early preparation netted them a lot of wins early on. So maybe you can see that from some of the teams we have lesser expectations for. But remember, to keep up with to date with our Challenger and LCS schedules, you can head over to eu.lolesports.com. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all we have for today.
But we're just about to get started.
We're just starting. It's the start of the season once again, 2017. No rest for the wicked. Remember to tune in again on Thursday at 5 p.m. Central European Time as we launch the European LCS Spring Split, and keep an eye out for the beginning of the Challenger Series Spring Split in a few weeks' time. From all of us here in Berlin, thank you for watching and good night.
And here is a big arrow that goes nowhere, but the wave comes on in. Delord looks like to be the targeted choice. Memento and Suno running for their lives as Tabasco is going to claim one. And Sevex just keeps putting him in prison over and over and over again. Sevex with another kill. The damage just isn't quite there enough, and Ruin's going to go down. Woolite picks him up. The last Nexus turret falls, and they are shredding through the Nexus. Desperate charge, but it won't be enough. Team Kinguin with game number 1. And Suno's taking a bit of chunk, and in comes Ice Beast. He wants to finish off a Chu, and it's Tabasco that does the job. Now
you can see Ruin coming in from the flank.
Oh, but Ruin, he gets flanked himself. The whole team finds their way in, and Woolite finishes the kill. Memento stops straight, turns back around. They may not have gotten the Baron, but they got some more. And double kill, sniped by Woolite. The turret is going down. Ruin with one more parry. It's not going to be enough. The repost fails, and it's going to be Nexus. Team Kinguin with 2-0 on the board. Sevex is actually going in, but Memento is tagged, and he's stunned up. Sevex, unleash the power. He goes in for Suno, finishes the job, and wouldn't you know it, Stand United. Memento cannot finish the job. Ice Beasto with the kill. The hook on Sevex. Koss autos to finish it off.
Arrow comes out.
It's going to land onto Suno, and in comes the Paranoia right onto Anshu, and the burst damage is oh so real. Suno unleashes the power, but Memento's already gone. Team Kinguin are on the Nexus. That's it, a 3-0 sweep, and welcome to Challenger.
But here's another gang into the mid lane. Nice flash into the cocoon onto Jiizuke. He'll flash away, but his death is already sealed.
Beansu's coming through.
Splitting them off, but this is forcing a fight for Fnatic. Big ultimate in from Mocha. Unfortunately, he just does no damage, and that's 2 fast kills over to Fnatic.
Just trying to clear out the control ward.
Dodges everything.
Fnatic should be able to take this, securing it for themselves from the steal.
Oh, Jiizuke got it!
Wait, what?
Jiizuke got it with a Q!
Ryze is going right in. Who's stepping on it? It's Maokai.
Oh, here comes Engage from Team Forge. An insta-kill onto Mocha, but also the kill onto Broxah. A fantastic shockwave from Nisqy, who opened up this fight for Fnatic. Kikis is still tanking up 3 players, keeping them all occupied. Here, Fnatic onto the Nexus, and Deja Vu, they take game 2. He's buying a lot of time. Unfortunately, there is no one anywhere remotely close to save him. And with the jump being up from Taikki, and the flash as well! First blood every turn! Finally finishing them off for a 1-for-1. Oh, here's Taikki. He's got the Shen ultimate on top of him. This is what the composition was meant to do, but he drew to the place and dies before he can do anything. Beansu, he's tanking up a lot of damage, but Gary trying to cut away from Kikis, who is chasing him down relentlessly.
Kikis goes in.
Death sentence. Kikis, complete obliteration of the support. To be Fnatic closing in, tightening this cruise, the last nail in the coffin. Welcome to Challenger 2017.